in food. See Can You Eat Earthworms, page 44. Other research projects have investigated the role of earthworms in restoring polluted or degraded farmland and environmental monitoring. The earthworm, whether it likes it or not, has been dragged centre stage. Only now are we starting to learn just what a valuable creature the earthworm really is. Perhaps the first thing to say is that there isn't just one type of earthworm. In fact, there are thousands. Across the world, there are thought to be at least 3,000 different species of earthworm, but because they've been so little studied, there are probably thousands more than that, tucked away and yet to be discovered. Earthworms also come in a wide variety of sizes. Different species can range in length from a centimetre to a gigantic 3 metres. Their colours vary enormously too. Alongside the muted browns and pinks we are familiar with in our own back gardens, some earthworms are green, stripy red, and even a gorgeous purpley blue. Did you know the collective noun for earthworms is a clue? Clue is an ancient relic of the Old English clwyn and means ball of yarn or thread. Other names for a group of worms include a mouthful, bed, clat, bunch, and squirm. The 3 types of earthworm. Who really respects the earthworm, the farm worker far under the grass in the soil? He keeps the earth always changing. He works entirely full of soil, speechless with soil, and blind. Harry Edmund Martinson, The Earthworm. Translation Robert Bly. For all their glorious variety, it's helpful to divide earthworms into 3 groups. These categories are roughly based on whereabouts in the soil the earthworm lives, and how it feeds and burrows. Starting from the surface, moving down into the soil, you'll discover surface dwellers, epigeic. This group of earthworms doesn't actually live in the soil. Instead, it rummages around on the surface among moist, warm, decomposing leaves and organic matter. These earthworms feed on this decaying material and on the fungi and bacteria that help break it down. They tend to be small, around 3 to 4 centimetres long, don't burrow into the ground, and are often red or reddish-brown in colour. Earthworms in this category include the wonderfully stripy tiger worms, Icenia fetida, which often live in compost heaps and are also known as redworms or red wrigglers. You don't find many of these worms on agricultural land because of the lack of any permanent leaf litter. They tend instead to prefer grasslands and forests. Shallow burrowers, endogeic. This second group of earthworms lives in the soil but usually stays in the upper layers, to a depth of around 30 centimetres. They feed on the dead leaves, fungi, and tiny creatures that are already mixed into that shallow layer of earth. Endogeic worms also burrow horizontally in the soil, creating a branch-like network of tunnels, and tend to be medium-sized, around 8 to 14 centimetres long, and very pale in colour, such as pinks, greens, and blue-greys. Deep burrowers, anessic. This third group of earthworms is the largest in length and can dig as far as 3 metres down into the soil. They burrow in straight vertical lines, rather like an elevator shaft, coming up to the surface at night time to grab plant material for food, which they pull down into their burrows. They are also red or brown in colour, but usually have a darker head and lighter coloured tail. These are also the earthworms that leave little heaps of soily poo on the surface of your lawn. These piles are called worm casts. Of all the deep burrowers, the best known is the common earthworm, Lumbricus terrestris. This is the gardener's friend, also known as the lobworm, the nightcrawler, the granddaddy worm and the dewworm, and is the largest naturally occurring earthworm across most of Europe, around 9 to 30 centimetres. The body of the common earthworm can be as thick as a pencil, and its tail can be flattened into a paddle shape to help the earthworm grip the sides of its burrow. The earthworm community. In reality, nature is never tidy. The 3 categories of earthworms are useful, but out in the field, the boundaries between different species of earthworms can get a bit blurred. For example, compost worms, such as the stripy tiger worms, Icenia fetida, are sometimes put into their own separate category, distinct from other surface-dwelling epigeic worms.